Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mosen Shafi. I am working as Assistant Professor of Management at Institute of Health Management and Research Sciences, Dhaka University of Medical and Health Sciences, Jamshoro. Thank you for joining us today for webinar titled Identifying Literature Gaps Using AI Tools. Today, our speaker is Professor Dr. Sanubar Salman. She has a vast experience in teaching and research, around 2 decades of experience. She has published over 28 research articles, and currently she is working as a business consultant at USA. Thank you very much, madam. Kindly proceed.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Mosen. I hope you all can hear my voice.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm Professor Dr. Sanubar Salman, and I am professor at University of St. John, Shiro. Currently, I am working as a business consultant and also approaching to masters in health management. So soon I will be qualified as you are going to be qualified as a medical health science graduates. As I have done my PhD in human resource development and I have published more than 28 research articles. And I know the students who are at the stage of your level when you are struggling with finding out research topic, starting your research journey, completing your thesis. Everybody passes through the same situation and challenges. That's the identifying your research topic and your research question. And for developing research question, it is important to identify the literature gaps. Dr. Mosen has done his master's and PhD from abroad. We know that how difficult is it that to come up with your final topic. Oh, this is my topic and I'm going to conduct my research on this topic. When we started our journey 10 years ago, it took me 1 year to finalize and come up with my final topic, which was the hardest part of research. That was literature review and finding literature gap. It was a story 10 years ago, but today it's a era of technology. Different artificial intelligence tools are introduced and they are useful to complete this literature gap within the short period of time. So this topic looks me so interesting because I know though that fresh students, research students struggles with the finding out their topic. So that's why we have selected this topic, identifying literature gaps using AI tools. I am observing there are more than 40 students and some are from PhD, masters, and you all are finding your topic to complete your research. Are you come up with your topic, that what's your topic on which you are conducting research? Anybody's there who have selected their research topic?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'm
So,
a second year
what's your
MBBS.
topic?
It's a relation of anxiety with sleep.
Relationship of anxiety and sleep. Is it your own understanding that you want to conduct research, or you have come with this topic by identifying the literature?
So it is my first time doing any sort of research. So I wanted to start with a bit easier topic to work on. Then I will be moving forward towards bigger topic, bigger sort of project.
Okay.
So this is my
Okay.
first time, and right now I'm done with my proposal. I will soon working out as soon as in maybe 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. So the first most problem that when we start our research, we believe that the ideas come up in our mind, they are our topics. And we really want to do the research on those topics. But that's not in real. What we think our existing literature is entirely different from that. So whenever we start our research, we have to come up with the research question. And that research question doesn't come from our mind, but that should be derived from your literature. That's why as soon as we start our research, we have to review literature. The literature gives us the gap, and that gives us direction what to do, how to do, and where to do, and why to do. These all answers are derived from the literature. So today's class consists of 4 learning objectives that we, first of all, we have to understand what is literature gap, why it is important, what are the different types of research gaps we can identify through literature review, what are the methods to review the literature, what new techniques are used to analyze the literature gaps, and how we can perform certain steps to complete our literature review and come up with a literature gap. So our first topic is what is literature gap? What is literature review? Literature is the existing evidences in the field of academia. Literature gap is what is unknown. And literature means what is known. Research means to re-find, which has not been identified. Say, for example, there is a topic, impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction. You are trying to conduct the research on this topic. Maybe this research has been conducted in West, but has not been conducted in Asia. Maybe it has been conducted in Asia, but not in South Asia. So literature means any information which is known, and literature gap is which is unknown. That unknown can be perspective, that can be population, that can be size, that can be region, that can be any organization. Furthermore, we can elaborate literature gap by giving a statement that what questions are unanswered. Maybe the question impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction may have not been conducted in Sindh region, maybe in Pakistan. Various research exist in Western countries, but our Asian countries lacks this research. So we can conduct research and can fill this gap by identifying the answers of that question. And then again, our research will fill that gap. And literature will be enhanced, improved, enriched by conducting new research. So whenever we conduct research, we try to find out new evidences. We try to identify that which information is missing, which questions are unanswered. The third point that what literature gap is We conducted the literature review. We found various research studies has been conducted, but their views are mixed. Some authors emphasize that there is a positive impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction. Some says there is a strongly negative impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction. Now you are confused because when you gathered information, you looked at the research papers and you found that research results and findings are very contradicted. Some agree, some disagree. Now this situation directs you to research and search in your region, in your context, in your perspective, by using different methods, by selecting different sample, and then again finding evidences that what your research states. Does it give the findings in agreement or disagreement? So literature gap is basically important because we always try to review the literature, try to find out the gaps to update our research so that we can produce more findings to enrich the literature. Because literature directs us to come up with the original idea. It gives us the direction how to conduct research. It gives you methodological options. That's why literature review is important. It gives us the direction how to find out the gaps. And we try to know what is our research question. Then, once we review the literature, why
Ma'am,
we
I have a
review?
question.
Because we have to identify gaps. Why gaps are important? Why identifying gaps matters? There are certain reasons. Because it provides the foundation of novel research. If we don't conduct literature review, we don't find out the gaps, we cannot involve ourselves, we cannot develop new studies to conduct new findings. So our research will be again repetitive. They're outdated. There will be nothing new in research. Research always comes up with the new idea. Again, I would state here that new idea can be a new sample, different context, different perspective, different methods, mixed methods. These all are. Second, why we identify gaps? Because it establishes originality and justifies your studies. The literature review gives us the original question, original data, on basis of which we try to come up with the study objective. And that's why it is important to come up with the research gaps. When we review the literature, it strengthens our research contribution. Because we conduct new research, we find out new findings. New findings contributes to the literature, and that can help to the academician, new researchers, and organizations to implement those ideas and conduct research, future research. If you come up with the new ideas, new questions, unanswered questions, missing the gap, identifying the missing gaps, and filling that gaps, it gives you a help to produce or to publish your papers in high impact factor journal. because impact factor journal always encourage researchers to produce and present new evidences, new research, which gives us different ideas and enrich literature. Then literature gap also help us to describe and develop our methodology. When we review the literature, we found the gaps that the topic impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction has conducted a research, followed the qualitative methodology. We can do it in the different way by using quantitative methods. Maybe the sample size was small. We can develop our research methods by selecting large sample. The large sample gives us the accurate results, more validated results. This is also research. That the previous studies focused on the small sample size. Our studies focuses on the large sample and clusters, which gives us a more validated answer. Again, it helps to contribute to existing research. It enriches literature review. And again, it gives a direction to the future researcher, what research can be done in the future. So there are two aspects of any literature review. One, what is literature? Second, why identifying literature gaps? Because it provides us direction. Now, we have our types of research gaps: evidence gap, methodological gap, population gap, contradictory findings gap, theoretical gap. As we know that evidence gap is stated that limited or no studies are found on your topic. Methodological gap focuses on that existing research uses narrow or outdated research methods. Maybe they used quantitative research method. They followed the SPSS software, but nowadays SEM, PLS, Smart PLS is more popular than SPSS. Maybe there is something more than SEM. So this is methodological. So evidence gap focuses on that limited or no studies has been done. Methodological states that quantitative research has been done, but no qualitative research has been done. Maybe old software has been utilized, new software has not been focused. So we can develop our research question. We can select our methodological section by identifying new methods and new ways. Third is the population gap. Maybe we focused on the doctors in government sector, but we did not focus on clinics. So our research can be new. We can research by identifying the population gap, that which sample has not been identified. And we can identify that sample of our study and conduct research to develop new findings. Maybe we reviewed the literature and then we found there is a mixed findings and you are unable to reach at the conclusion that which is right or which is wrong. Again, we can research to find out that what our context states. Does our context provides the evidences of agreement or disagreement? Then last one is the theoretical gap. Theoretical gap is that our conceptual framework, there's a lack of conceptual framework. A conceptual framework is the model. It's a theoretical model on which our research is based. There are different definitions. There are different variables. Each variable has a different definitions given by different authors. Whose definition we are following? How we built that theoretical framework? From where we built this framework? Who studied on this which topic? You put all information in a theoretical framework. So you identified that the previous studies have not developed clear, proper theoretical framework and their gap. So we try to research, find out that what gaps were identified in literature. We can add those variables in our theoretical framework, and those variables are identified to make our conceptual complete and to identify the what was not identified before, which variables were ignored before, has been ignored by our researchers. Our research is going to fill that gap. So we have 5 types of methodological research gaps. Again, when we review the literature, we face so many challenges. As in the beginning, I mentioned when I was doing my PhD in 2015-14, it took me 1 year to come up with the research paper. Why? Because we students have never been with the research. And when we start our research, it becomes so overwhelming. When you will open your Google Scholar link, you will write your topic on the Google Scholar. You will find so many articles. And each article will be difficult to understand because we really don't understand from where to start, where to end. Which paper we should select, we should ignore. In the beginning, every research article looks so important and interesting. And we put so many things in our research. And at the end, we cannot do anything. Because when we start our literature review, we find certain research articles from Google Scholar and different databases. But when we review, we really don't understand. And I myself took more than a year to come up with the topic. What happened? But when I completed my PhD, when I started to guide my MPhil and PhD students, I always focused that you should learn how to review literature. You should stick with your topic. When we find papers from Google Scholar and different databases, basically we are misleaded. We see every article looks so important to us, interesting to us. And whatever we study, we put in our theoretical framework. And at the end, our research becomes so complicated. So we have to stick with our topic. Topic should be very simple. It should be clear. You should have clear in your mind that what you want to study. Let's suppose I have taken one topic as your example. Identifying the impact of hospital management on patient satisfaction. Patient satisfaction. The patient satisfaction. Again, if I'm trying to stick with this topic and trying to conduct research in my region, that is Hyderabad, so I'll start writing this topic on Google Scholar and I'll see so many papers are written on the waste. And then I couldn't find any study on Sindh region. And then I looked at the Western Canada, Australia, America. There were certain studies conducted in China. And when I reviewed the literature, there were some more variables. And I added those in my theoretical research framework. What happened? Again, I was failure to complete that because there was difficulty in comparing the multiple studies that on which topic I should do. Should I stick with the two variables? Should I add one mediator? Should I add one moderator? Oh, this looks so important. This will make you more complex. So you should not stick with the gap, but with the topic. Once your topic is clear, then follow your gap. It will give you a clear directions that what's your research. When we review the literature, as I told you that we have a hesitation to establish the question. Because when we review literature, when we think, our ideas and literature does not match. We develop the research questions in our mind by observing our environment in which we work. And we really want to address those questions. But when we start our research, we cannot find the information, literature. Then we think, oh, what's that? That's basically what we think, what we observe, that may not exist in the literature. So our research always directed by existing literature. So whenever we come up with the idea, don't look at your mind, what your mind says to conduct research, but you have to look at the existing literature to find out the gaps. That's your real research. Now, we have to move towards the artificial intelligence, that we are struggling with literature review, which is very complex process. So many issues occurs. There is so many research articles on Google. Many students cannot access databases. Some universities have access over it. But again, they do not provide to the undergraduate students. Maybe the students are facing issue in finding the problems, and it takes long, and it's a time-consuming process to complete your literature review. But technology has made our job easy, and that's artificial intelligence. When we did our PhD, I myself studied more than 2,000 research articles. Oh, it was really very, very time consuming, boring. And when I come up with my research question, I was satisfied. Oh, it took me 1 year. But now AI can help you to solve this issue within short period of time. And with your smart work on AI and literature review, can complete your task not in a year, but in a days. So nowadays, we can review our literature, can easily find out research question, can determine research gaps with the help of artificial intelligence. We have 4 methods of AI that can help us to find out our research and literature gap. There are 4 ways. One is semantic search, automatic summarization, pattern recognition, reference mapping. Semantic search help us to find contextually relevant paper that may be country-based, region-based, organization-based. Automatic summarization highlights methodology, results, and limitation. Pattern recognition help us to detect contradiction and underexplored themes. Fourth is reference mapping. It helps us to trace missing citations and outdated sources. Now, these four AI tools can help us in four ways: semantic search, automatic summarization, pattern recognition, reference mapping. We have a different AI tools. We have a Elicit, Rabbit, and there are five. They all help us to perform these four functions: semantic search, automatic summarization. If we today we will practice little on Elicit AI tool, and Elicit AI tool will help us to complete automatic summarization. When we start our literature review, we always start with establishing summaries. When we review one paper, we write its summary. And what includes in summary? Research objective, research methods, and research findings. These three things are important in every research article. These three components provides us literature review. What is research? Research objective. How does the research was done? Research methodology. Results were positive or negative? Research findings. Hypothesis was accepted or rejected? Findings. Question were properly answered? Research findings. So today we will practice little on one AI tool, and that one AI tool will help us to produce automatic summarization. We have five different types of AI tools, and those different five tools can be used in four ways: for reaching at semantic search, for developing automatic summarization, for pattern recognition, reference mapping. Now, how AI works? It has workflow. The workflow is consist of 5 steps. And these 5 steps are: process to complete literature review by using AI tools. First of all, how we start literature review? We always search for the research articles and papers. We have a different ways, modes. The most common, easiest is a Google Scholar. What topic you have selected, just write that topic on the Google Scholar. Google Scholar will produce so many research papers and articles. You can select, save according to your research objectives and research question. We have a different types of databases: Scopus, Web of Science, Jesters. These all are databases. Over these, every student does not have access. These are paid. Most of the institutions like your LAMS, University of St, all universities have access on this because they pay annually fee. So the first most important way is to find out the research papers through the different databases. Second, select some AI tools according to your requirement. We have 5 AI tools can be used, but every tool does not perform all the functions. You have to select and choose AI tools according to your research requirement. If you want to summarize your literature review, you should follow Elicit AI tool. If you want to know the pattern, you should focus on the Research Rabbit. If you want to perform all the functions of literature review, you have to use 2 or 3 AI tools simultaneously. But again, these AI tools are not free of cost. Some of the tools are free for the beginners, some are the paid. So it depends upon the requirement. If your requirement is done with the beginner session, that's okay. If you think that information has been produced is not enough, you have to buy extended form of the AI tool, which is paid version. That may give you the accurate literature review. But at one side, the AI tool has some benefits, advantages. On other side, it has some drawbacks too. What are those? We are going through that. Now, if we are using artificial intelligence in healthcare to complete our literature review, first of all, you have to come up with your topic. Say, for example, the topic you have selected, that is impact of AI on hospital management efficiency. You will write that topic on Google Scholar, Scopus, even on AI tool. The Scopus, Google Scholar will produce results. What will be the results? Research articles. They may produce articles on AI in hospital scheduling, maybe AI and patient flow management, and AI in administrative automation. What's your topic? Your topic is impact of AI on hospital management efficiency. When you are reviewing the literature, you will have to look at 3 things. What is the research question of that study? Means research objective. What method they have used. Maybe you found one paper, impact of AI on hospital management, and you found that most of studies have been conducted in large hospitals. Most studies are conducted in developed countries, and their common results were found that if cost efficiency increases, cost reduced, or maybe cost reduced when efficiency is improved. Now, what did you find the gap? Most of the research were focusing on large hospitals, developed countries, and relationship of efficiency and cost reduction. What is unidentified? What is gap? What are unanswered questions? Small clinics are unidentified. No research has been done yet. The developing countries has not conducted research on these topics. Health management and HR has also been ignored. Health management and AI has also been ignored, unanswered. The information is missing. This can be your research gap, and you can conduct research on these topics. Now, how AI help us to conduct research and review? This is a link. You can copy this link, then open in your window, open the net tab, Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a topic, impact of AI on hospital management efficiency. Okay, I have written the topic name here. This is my research topic. I wrote it here, submitted. AI tool is thinking, processing, and generating the results. What I found 4 searches. There are 4 research articles that artificial intelligence, hospital operation efficiency review, AI scheduling, administrative, workload hospital automation review, AI flowbed, AI patient flowbed, management hospital review, AI hospital management efficiency systematic review. Now, these are 4 areas on which I have collected the papers. Now I am looking at the summary, that what summary has been produced by AI Elicit tool. This paragraph describes a short summary of each paper. That one is written by Zungu et al. In 2026. It's his summary. Then again, it summarizes another paper, Zungu et al. In 2026. Then Horizon and Scan in 2024. We jump at the last. The 5th paper was written by Wanker et al. In 2025. There are 5 paper research articles who have been published related to our topic, and its summary is given. We will look at the summary. We will see, are these summaries are relevant to our topic? Then we can take the summary and rephrase in order to avoid plagiarism. If you want into the deep of these research articles, you look at the cited source. What are those cited source? These are the papers whose summary we reviewed in the previous slide. If you want to go in detail, just open DOI. The full paper is here. We can just look at the summary generated by AI tool. That is very useful, but still there are certain limitations of AI tool. We cannot rely on them. We should also review the literature by ourselves. We should involve in critical thinking, because these these AI tools generate the data on the basis of automation. They will not give you the accurate information. For conducting research, to find out the real gaps, to identify the genuine question, it's important to look at the real problems. The machine may not produce the real problems. Machine will produce whatever the data available. Again, there will be certain limitations of using these tools. If we want to go into the deep of these papers, we have to go back. The whole information is here. And then is the open access journal where it is written. It's cited by the whole data is here. Now, what Elicit AI tool did, it provides the relevant topic, its summaries, and complete article, but they are limited. If you write the same topic on the Google Scholar, you will find so many research articles. So AI tool is useful, but again, it has limitations. In order to come up with the accurate information, you have to go into the deep of this Elicit tool. There is a one drawback of this tool. For the beginner, it is free. But once you want to get more information, you have to buy paid version, which is extended version, which is advanced version, which will perform more functions to produce more accurate data, more relevant data. So these are some drawbacks of these softwares. I hope you get it, that how this Elicit AI tool works in literature review. Dr. Mosen?
Yes, madam.
I hope it is clear to student that how this AI tool works in literature review.
Yes, hopefully. I think
It's
we
not
can also.
advanced version, but still, it gives us the way that how it can be operated and how the data is generated. Now it has more functions. If you want to sort most relevant, there is an option. If you want to filter, there is option. If you want to download complete article, there is option. If you want to save it to the library, there is option. Again, if you will go into the deep of these functions, maybe at later stages, it stops working because they are paid. They are extended form. They're advanced version. So it will work once we will buy it. I'm planning to buy one of the research AI tool to practice in the next class so that you can reach at the conclusion how does AI tool works in identifying the literature gaps and developing research question. So I hope in next 2 weeks, we would be able to organize another class with the paid version of AI tool in research and literature gap. Right? So I have written the topic related to the health management. The Elicit tool produced certain results. Initially, it produced summary of 5 research articles. Then it gives a citation. It gave the citation of those articles. And if you want to go into the deep of those articles, this Elicit tool produced complete research papers, but they were limited. And I observe, this is the drawback of this tool. When we search, mostly it is written, it is free. It is beginner. It is friendly user. But when you go into the deep, at certain stage, it stopped working because of the paid version. So in our next class, we will reach at the final conclusion that how this AI tool works in finding your gap with a real example. So these are the some softwares. Okay, can you see the slides?
It's alert visible. Okay, जो
We have a
participants हैं,
sorry?
participants तमाम जो लोग हमारे साथ connected हैं, मैं उनको
जी।
ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि उनका जो भी सवाल हो वो चैट में ही लिख दें, क्योंकि अब
बस
टाइम ऑलमोस्ट
हाँ,
कंप्लीट
चैट में लिखते हुए जाएं।
हाँ, हम क्वेश्चन नहीं ले सकेंगे आज के
ठीक है।
सेशन में, टाइम ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीट हो गया और मैडम के पास आई थिंक 2
ठीक है।
बज रहे होंगे रात के, तो बस चैट में अपना
हाँ।
सवाल लिखें तो मैडम क्विकली उसको रेस्पॉन्ड कर दें। थैंक यू।
मैं ठीक है, तो there are 5 tools: Research Rabbit, Litmaps, Connected Papers, Research Pearl, and Elicit. Today we practice little on Elicit, and it is commonly known as an academic search assistant. It produces summary. If we look at the Research Rabbit, this is the perfect one, which we can use in connection with the Litmaps. If you want to develop research gap by using AI tools, the best practice, the best tools are Research Rabbit and Litmaps. Because Research Rabbit produces research networking and literature mapping, Litmaps produce visual citation and topic discovery. Elicit is the beginner one, which only produces summary. And if it is relevant, we can use. It may not be relevant with our topic, we may not use. But experts suggested that Research Rabbit and Litmaps are advanced, and most of them are paid. There are some limitations of these AI tools. There's a data dependency. Whatever data is available on these tools, that may be over-represent. Maybe the most of the studies are Western. No studies found on Asia, Pakistan, South Asian countries. That's why we cannot rely on them. Second AI error, that this is a machine learning. These are the tools and techniques. Sometimes they may not produce correct information. They may not be relevant to us, relevant to our topic. So it may mislead our information. Third, these AI tool has validation issue, that we don't know that are they accurate? How would we know that they are accurate? Because these data has been produced, these summaries has been produced by machine, not by human. So there was a lack of critical thinking. When we manually review the literature, we as a human look at the research articles involving critical thinking by identifying strengths and weaknesses of the studies. Once the studies are strong, we look at the weaknesses, and then we develop our research question. We find our gaps from that critical thinking, what has not been investigated. So in AI tool, there are these limitations. The data is over-represented, information is misleaded, there is inaccuracy of data that may be context limited, certain topic, certain variables, maybe rest of the variables which we want to study, which we want to research, that information is not available. And last, the most important, that these AI tools limit your critical thinking. We as a researcher cannot think much. And then again, we may be unable to find new findings. That's why it is important to look at the limitations too. What we should do, what researchers should do, then should he use the AI tools or not? Yes, we should use, but we should use multiple AI tools, not only one, because the one tool may not produce relevant information, accurate information, validated information. Second, what AI generates, what AI produce, always verify with your own critical thinking. Look at the AI results and again critic. Identify weaknesses and strengths. Critical thinking. Again, look at the Scopus, Google Scholar, and other databases. Collect some new papers from there and recheck that are these AI generated results are enough or there is some more research which should be considered while reviewing the literature. So look at the Google Scholar and other databases continuously that what new research has been done. What are the benefits of AI tools? It saves time. Literature gaps justify why your study matters. AI tools make gap discovery faster and smarter. But you should learn that you should not only rely on AI tools, you should use both methods, AI plus your critical thinking, and then reach at the conclusion and develop your question. Improve your research by clear directions. So these were the few slides which I really wanted to share with you students.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Sanubar Salman. Now we are moving towards our question and answer session. If
Yes,
any
sir.
participants have any question, they can use the chat box to share their queries, and we will be happy to answer those queries. Okay, there's a question from Marfa Lagari. When you are going to hold second seminar?
For the next 2 weeks.
Okay, Madam, we are having few good questions in the chat box. Maybe
Yeah, I'm
you
opening.
can. Yeah.
Yes, Asad Ali. You are talking about consensus.com is also free tool for searching research gap and also give relevant paper of your topic. I really don't know about this tool. Actually, I included only those tools on which I conducted the literature review, that our research focuses on these tools. So for consensus.com, I don't know. Um, There is one question. Please repeat names of all AI tools you have mentioned previously. There are 5: Research Rabbit, Litmaps, Connected Papers, Research Pal, Elicit. For today's class, we only practiced the Elicit, which was free and beginner friendly. When will be the next class? I will consult with the Dr. Mosen. Hopefully, we are planning to organize another class in next 2 weeks, and that would be little advance.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Ta'ala. If we need paid AI tools, but don't want to pay, but you have to pay. There is no other way without paying. I remember. It could be like that. One can buy, or 4 or 5 students can share the amount, and this will reduce your burden, financial burden. But ultimately, you will have to pay if you want to learn advanced AI tools. Ahmed Sangrasi. Okay, inshallah, we will include reference section. For reference section, we have separate websites. So with the consent of Dr. Mosen, we will organize another workshop for the reference citation. Is it okay, Dr. Mosen?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Professor Dr. Salman, for sharing your insights with us. And now, due to time limitations, we have to end our session now.
Sure.
And thank you, all
Thank you.
participants for.
Thank you, participants, for your
Thank you, madam.
patience. Thank you, Dr. Mosen and the team, for organizing this workshop for the students and for the researcher too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you to all the participants who joined us today. And if you have any further queries, you can write to us through our WhatsApp. We have also created a dedicated WhatsApp channel for you guys. So if you have any query, you can contact with us and let us know what types of topics you want in future webinars. So we will try to cover them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.